So is gun ownership becoming more of an obsession than a right? So the debate has become a political tool used by both sides. Last month, lawmakers in South Dakota introduced legislation that would require any adult, 21 or older, to buy a firearm. And not because they actually believed it would pass or that it should be required, but to prove a point that they don't believe the government can mandate that citizens should purchase health care. Then a video came out from a group of undercover officers that New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg had sent to a gun show in Phoenix, Arizona, where they proved that the background check system can fail. And no matter which side you fall on, the debate over guns is seen as inherently American. The U.S. leads the world in gun ownership, 90 guns per 100 people. But we also far and away lead the world in gun violence and gun deaths, with 30,000 Americans dying every year because of it. So how does that look to the rest of the world? Joining me to discuss it is Seton Motley, president of Less Government, and from our Los Angeles studio, Ben Cohen, editor of the Daily Banter. Gentlemen, thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
Joining me, I guess, and everyone here. Ben, I'm going to start with you. What do you say here? Do you think that people have taken something that is a right, that's written into the Constitution, and maybe taken it a little too far, turned it into an obsession?
Yeah, I think that's definitely right. From a UK perspective, it's quite a bizarre culture, the obsession with owning a gun. I can understand that it is a part of the American psyche and a part of American culture, but the bringing guns to political rallies and protesting the right to bear arms in schools and in restaurants, and it's kind of bordering on insane.
What do you say to that, Seton?
Well, I think it's the British culture is bizarre, where people get robbed in their homes because they can't defend themselves with a gun. They're at their house. The burglar breaks in, especially elderly people, and rob them while they're at home. I also think it's absurd to tell a 100-pound woman that she can't buy a gun to defend herself from a 200-pound rapist because it bothers somebody's sensibilities.
But the question I'm asking here is, why does it always have to be the center of every political debate? I mean, if you ask me, the fact that we're talking about health care, and somehow someone decides to create legislation in South Dakota to say, well, if you're going to force me to have health care, I'm going to force you to have a gun. That's just crazy, really.
Well,
I mean, where are our priorities?
Well, but look, the fact of the matter is the reason...
South Dakota, was that what it said?
So you said South Dakota.
It was South Dakota.
Yeah. The reason it continues to be a debate is because it's ingrained, it's inherent, it's a right in the Constitution, and people keep trying to take it away. So of course it's going to continue to be a discussion.
Who's tried to take it away, though? Barack Obama hasn't tried to take it away.
No, but every time there's a conversation about gun control, it's inherently unconstitutional to discuss it.
This is a misnomer to claim that people were trying to take your gun rights away. That's not true. People were trying to intelligently legislate gun control.
Well, the Constitution says Congress shall make...
You can't keep quoting... Will you let me finish? You let me finish. Okay? That you can't start quoting statistics about robberies in the UK and 100-pound women looking to defend themselves. The statistics speak for themselves. You have the highest homicide rate in the Western world. You've got 30,000 people dying a year from guns.
Mostly suicides.
It's ridiculous
First of all, mostly suicides. First of all, they're mostly suicides. Second of all,
well, it's
you have 12,000 a year aren't suicides.
Well, 12,000 aren't suicides.
Are homicides.
That means mostly suicides.
I was correct. 3 times the murder rate of the UK.
Yes, but we also have 1/5 the robbery rate, and beyond that.
Well, what are you saying? The robbery is not better than murder? I'm going to say someone dying is a little more dramatic.
It depends on who's dying. If a woman's getting raped and shoots the rapist, I don't care that the guy died.
Well, since you brought that up, I mean, this is the thing also that I obviously find very often frustrating, is that we hear from people, especially on the right, that they don't want the government interfering in their lives. They don't want the government touching their guns.
Yes, please.
But these are often the same people that are very keen on the government telling you who you can marry and telling you what you can do when it comes to an abortion, when you have been raped, which to me are some of the most personal issues.
But abortion is, we're not worried about your rights, we're worried about the rights of the person you're killing. So there is an individual rights issue with regard to abortion.
It's still my rights here, right? We're talking about me.
Well, we're not just talking about you.
That's where we differ,
We're
I guess.
not just talking about you.
But Ben, I mean, do you think that there's a bit of a priority mix-up when Americans think that guns are more important than health care?
Yeah, it's definitely, from my perspective at least, I think there's definitely a priority issue there, that the right to bear arms is more important than the right to free healthcare.
Because there is no constitutional right to healthcare. It's not in the Constitution. The Constitution mentions a lawyer, it doesn't mention a doctor, and it mentions guns, it doesn't mention healthcare.
But shouldn't healthcare be something that we care about? I mean, we keep jumping back to the Constitution, everything that the Constitution
says. If you care about it,
says.
the last entity you want involved in it is government. Because they stink at doing everything. So
This is getting silly, because listen, people like Mr. Motley, you're not interested in solving problems. You're interested in promoting an ideology that doesn't work.
Your quote-unquote solutions are involving government, and that's the antithesis.
Yes, my quote-unquote solutions are to involve government because government works.
Where?
I'm sorry,
when?
intelligent
How?
legislation works.
Where, when,
so
how?
With the banking bailout, who stepped in to fix that? With the free market, private companies, private corporations?
The banking bailout was a disaster.
Okay.
The banking bailout was a disaster.
No, look, the economy would be, you wouldn't be on television now.
That's an absurd argument. You can't disprove a non-entity. You can't disprove it. It would be worse if we didn't do that. That's a non-starter argument.
All right, let me.
Are you seriously arguing that the government didn't need to step in to,
yes, absolutely,
to resolve the financial crisis?
Losers need to lose.
You're not serious.
You can't
be serious if you're saying that.
You don't know what you're talking about.
There's no point in talking to someone
in a free market society.
I do, because look, government intervention in the free market. We bailed out the banks. We essentially stopped a giant depression.
Yeah, we chose losers over winners. Is what we did.
But no.
Yes, we did. We chose losers over winners.
The government stepped in.
Let me bring up another point here quickly, gentlemen, too. I think that one thing that many people have brought up is that, yes, Americans, we're very into guns. Or not we, I am not, but many Americans are very into their guns. America also considers itself a leader in the world, and we take a very moralistic stance on many things. But when we have the highest rates of gun violence and gun deaths, does that somehow diminish the say that we should have?
For every one time a gun is used to commit a crime, it's used 3 times to prevent it. And that's a statistic nobody talks about. So for every one time somebody robs a bank with a gun, 3 crimes are prevented by using a gun. So
why is the murder rate so high then? So why is the homicide rate off the Richter scale?
Just to use Arizona as an example, if somebody else had a gun, there would have been less murders.
Why do you have the highest homicide rate?
Well, just to use Arizona as an example, if somebody besides Loeffner had a gun, there would have been less murders.
Well, there were some witnesses I know that ran up that did have guns, but at a certain point, it's too late. If somebody comes up to you point blank in the head, there's no time to draw your weapon and save yourself. But okay, we have to wrap it up. Ben, quickly though, to answer that question, do you think that it diminishes somehow, America's say if you can't keep your own house in order?
I mean, look, I'm going to take a slightly controversial opinion and say I don't necessarily think that's true. I think America has a lot of great things going for it, and I think the gun issue is its own issue, and it's a problem that I have with American society, but I don't think that detracts too much from the overall society, which is generally speaking a fantastic society.
Whoever said that was controversial, I was just asking you for your opinion. All right, gentlemen, I want to thank you both very much for joining us today.